What up? It's your boy LJay Brown.
It is no nickname, Jude.
No, it's your boy D.I.E.
This is the Kickback, man, live and direct each and every Saturday morning. What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
We got a special guest with us this morning, Pastor Teron Rogers from
Yes, sir.
the Mount Virginia Beach.
Pastor's going in today, huh?
Yeah.
So,
Have service this morning.
Yeah, I wanted some other advice from a more seasoned veteran.
Oh, I like
How you
that.
gonna take that
Season
I didn't say,
veteran.
like, is that a good season? No, I mean, is that a bad way to say season? Like, what
It's
you mean by
reality.
season?
Yeah,
I'm trying to start something
that way
up
he
there.
more seasoned than we are.
Seasoned.
Like, what you
He's
mean?
way
by
more
that?
seasoned.
I could have went more seasoned, but we just kind of went like
Seasoned
moderate
back.
season today.
I
You
like
know what I'm
that.
saying?
That's what's up. Don't forget to welcome the guys in
Darwin
Texas.
say, as always, man, we want to welcome everybody out there in Killeen and surrounding areas of Killeen
Morning.
for listening. We appreciate
morning,
y'all
good morning.
listening.
Thank
man.
y'all.
Of course, man, we appreciate all our people right here in the 757, man. We love y'all, man. Thank y'all for checking us out.
Hampton Road.
What's up, Pastor?
What's up, man?
Thank you
What's
for
going
coming
on?
in. Thank you for hanging out with us this morning and all that kind of stuff.
You got
On
two
short
phones.
notice,
Welcome, my
Appreciate
brother.
the invite.
He
brother.
got two phones.
Yeah, I texted him on short
Oh.
notice, man, and he made it happen for us.
Oh, yeah. Which phone you
doubt.
text?
No doubt.
I don't know which one. I don't know.
Jude
which one.
is-
I don't know, man. As long as he answered, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
all
We
that
good to
matters.
go.
That's what's
Um,
up.
Doubt.
So check it out, man. Today, man, the reason why I brought Pastor Teron on today, man, is this month we on a topic about understanding different generations. So y'all know we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. So I just wanted to bring somebody in from a different generation, obviously, so we can get a different perspective. All of us on here, obviously millennials. So I just wanted to bring somebody else in here from a different generation that kind of shed some light, to us as to why, the generations are just so different. You know what I mean?
Way
And
different.
me and Fleas was kind of talking a little bit before we started, and I just told him, Pastor, like, honestly, I feel like it's beef. I really do. I feel like it's beef. I do. I think low key. I think it's beef
You was
between
straight-
generations.
So they won't smoke?
I
They
ain't
don't
gonna
want
say
the
they
smoke.
won't
They
smoke.
want- they
No,
don't
I
want-
don't think they
no,
won't
no.
smoke. But I think it's legit beef. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? Just and personally, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong. But I personally feel like it's coming down from the other generations toward us. I don't feel like we got a problem with the other. Cause like I don't really think we could care less what the older generation is doing or not doing or can be. But I think they got a problem with the way we do things or the way we
How
want
we
to do
move.
things. Do y'all think that?
I
Or
don't have no
or
beef,
do y'all
nah.
think it's beef back towards the other way as well?
I think you kind of got it like right on,
Think I'm hitting on the nail?
bullseye.
Yeah, what do you think, please?
I mean, you're right. I don't beef with
What would
that.
you say? First of all, what generation are you in? Are you a baby boomer? You a Gen X?
Gee
I'm
whiz.
Generation X.
A
Generation
boomer.
X.
Generation
Okay.
X. I'm Generation
Okay.
X.
A
In fact, I'll be 50 April 1st.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
happy birthday, brother. I'ma say that
babies,
now.
I'm the 21st of April.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm a happy
Yeah.
birthday. I'm going to say that now.
Yeah, right?
So what
I
you
won't
think about
forget.
that, Pastor?
Well,
We
I
all
think-
sat here and said that we feel like it's beef and we feel like it's coming from. Would y'all say it's coming from the Gen X's or the baby boomers or both?
I don't think baby boomers really don't care about what's
Yeah.
going on right now.
Baby boomers ain't out like the Gen
Yeah.
X is out.
I don't know y'all, but go
No, I
ahead.
think, I
Pastor.
think everybody.
I mean, with certain
I think
arenas, you're right.
everybody has their way of thinking. Everybody has been trained and grown up a certain way, and I think that because of that, you're just used to seeing certain things. I can go all the way back to my growing up days. Reality was when I was growing up, we got a haircut every Friday. So for me to see the knotted heads, they just they just mess,
Right, right.
run their fingers
Just
through their
go
hair,
however.
just get the edge up. For
Uh-huh,
me, that messes with my psyche because we used to the clean cut.
Right.
Go get your cut every Friday.
He definitely asks me that every day
So
he
it's
sees me.
different. So it's different. And it looks like for us, for me, it looks like laziness. It looks like a person that just wants to be able to get out the bed, don't
go.
do nothing, and go.
Uh-huh.
But after talking to millennials and just seeing how they flow, it's really not that. It's just what's out there. It's just the way they wear their hair now. So it's something I had to kind of get used to. But I still be like, Gabby, don't bring no knotted head dude home. Bring somebody that's clean cut, somebody that at least look like they want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it.
Right.
So it's different strokes for different folks. But for my generation, again, it was just different things that we were used to. You didn't speak when adults were talking.
Right.
I remember one time my grandmama's friend came over the house, and y'all don't joke me. My grandmama friend came over the house, and I just asked a question. She had a tall purple. Her hair was tall, purple, and white. And
Purple and white?
It was purple and white.
And tall.
I'm not lying to you, and it was tall. And I'm sitting there, and I had to be about 9, and I just kept looking at that hair, and I just kept looking at that hair. And finally I said, Sister Nixon, is that a wig? And my grandmama said, up. And I said, but grandma, she said, up. I said, but grandma, she said, up. And so I just knew right then I was in trouble. But for me, I was just being inquisitive.
Right.
Yeah,
So why am I going to get in trouble for asking a question?
Right.
Well, when she told my dad, I learned. She told my dad, and she said, Leon, I ain't telling you this to whip him. But he asked Sister Nixon if she had a wig on today. And my daddy walked around the corner. He said, when I get you home, I'm going to kill you. It was just back then. You did not open your mouth to adults. You didn't ask questions. Kids were seen and not heard. So, it just depends on the way that you were raised and the generation that you came up in that has shaped your thinking.
Right.
Like I said, my granddaddy came and got me and my brother every week, got us a haircut. So when I look at the way kids wear their clothes nowadays, the sag, and I'm telling you right now, if I see another pair of underwear, it's going to drive me crazy because underwear are underwear. You're supposed to be underneath.
Okay.
But today is just the style.
Right.
People buy their clothes too small so they can show their underwear. I mean, it's just different. So for me, I guess it's just the way we've been cultured. And I think a lot of the way we think now is from the music, from the people that we look up to now. I ain't gonna call no artist names.
No, call them out, bro.
I mean, when you look at the way certain guys dress like
Go ahead,
Drake.
Y'all boy.
I mean, but look at cats like what's the dude named Fetty Wap.
Drake kind of clean cut.
He
though.
got
But
clean.
look at a guy like Fetty Wap. The way he
Fetty
dressed,
Wap.
the tattoos and the pants that come down to his.
I got
to
you.
his
I feel you on that.
it's like, okay.
But that's what we're
do-
saying, though, Pastor. What's wrong with that?
Again, the way
You
I
understand
was
what I'm saying?
raised is different.
Right.
So it may not be nothing wrong with it, but for me, because I'm used to seeing certain things or used to seeing it a different way, for me, it brings a red flag.
Right.
And there's not necessarily anything wrong with it, but again, I don't want my wife or my daughter or my mama having to look at some dude's underwear. And I think that you guys, even though y'all are millennials, I don't think that y'all want y'all women, y'all wife, your mom having to be exposed to somebody's butt because they just want to wear their pants a certain way. I'm just being honest.
Somebody's
I
butt.
mean, I don't know if it makes sense to y'all, but for
It
me,
does.
It don't.
I think it's a level of disrespect that you're gonna show your undergarments and more to people in public.
And more.
And more.
I don't know
I
how
mean,
they do it.
let's be
I don't
real,
know how they
y'all.
do it.
They showing a lot nowadays, and it's
Oh,
not
yeah,
just
nah.
the guys, it's the
They
females
bearing all
too.
now.
They bearing all now.
Yeah, they
so
are.
it's different, man. And it takes some getting used to. Some stuff I think my generation, boomer generation, probably will never get used to. One of the things that I think y'all been talking about is wearing hats inside of a building. My grandfather, when I
That's a
played
big one right
basketball,
now.
when I played basketball with my granddad, all the guys who came in the gym, he would not start practice until everybody took their hats off, everybody got ready to play. You could not come in that building and keep your hat on.
Right.
So for me now, when somebody come in my house and they keep their hat on, it's like I gotta kind of check myself, like, dude, it's all right.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm like, you're supposed to take your hat off when you
Disrespecting
come
me.
inside.
Right.
Hey, man, put that head up in my house.
Right. Right.
Nah, we got a problem. Or get out.
Right, but that's how it was back in the day.
Right.
If you didn't take your hat off when you came into a boomer's house back in the day, you were
true.
disrespecting them,
Disrespect.
and you were asked to leave, or it was a problem. So that's why today my mind is shaped because of the way my granddaddy thought. And for me, it's like it was a source of respect as to, you taking your hat off when you come into a building, you showing respect to all of those who are there.
Right.
So again, that's just the way we've been taught. So when I look at it now, when even at the Mount Virginia Beach, when young guys come in, we're in the cafeteria, but we still call that sacred place,
Right.
The holy place that we come to worship. So when I see a young person come in the sanctuary, that we call the sanctuary with hats on,
Right.
it still gets into my psyche. It's like, okay, is this worth stepping to the young brother,
Right.
and then I turn him off to church?
Absolutely.
Or do I just let him come in, be comfortable, and then through his learning of how we worship and why we worship, that he'll get to the point where he want to take his hat off? I don't know.
Right.
So for me, it does present a challenge because it just presents a different way of thinking, and I for one, I love the Mount because, again, we always bring different perspectives.
Right.
And having you guys on staff, having younger people around us, y'all help us to see things differently.
Absolutely.
And it helps us to grow ministry in a way that we would not have if we were to stay in our same thinking.
Right. So
if that makes sense.
Absolutely, a lot of sense. And I agree with everything you said. But the one thing that I want to point out, though, is for you anyway, even with a lot of things you saying that you grew up on and things that you was taught and how it shaped your mindset, and then when you give an example, you were saying that, obviously that's not how you was raised, that's not how, how you were taught to do things, but you understand it, or you don't understand it, but you not necessarily agree
You
with it.
acknowledge it at least.
Right, but you acknowledge it, and you saying, just like you said, if somebody come into your house, like, you kind of, in thought in your mind saying, hey, man, take that hat off, but, like, you don't go all the way through with that.
Right.
Because you understand and that, like you just said, times change or whatever case may be. So although within you, it may feel a certain type of way, you are understanding that times change.
Right.
Right? So how do you get to the point, or how did you get to the point where you could understand that times change? Because obviously we talking about understanding different generations and knowing that, generations are different. You gotta understand that things are not going to be the same way they were when you were coming up, or, whatever the case may be. So if we know that, how do we get to the point where you willing to say, okay, I understand times change, just the way, things may be now. And so how do you get to that point versus just being stuck in saying, man, look, you know what?
Go take your
Head off. I ain't playing.
I don't
You know
care,
what I'm saying?
son.
Like, it don't matter
I'ma
what you
step
think
to
or
you.
what you feel. Okay,
Right.
times change, whatever. No, they don't. Take that hat, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right.
Or, pull them pants up. I ain't trying to see your underwear. Blase, blase, blase.
Where your belt at, boy?
Just put them pants. So, like, how do you get to the point where instead of being stuck in what you were taught and how you were raised, and just adjusting or adapting, and I don't even
Letting
want
it
to say it's
ride.
adjusting or adapting because nobody asking you to do it.
Yeah, he letting it ride.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like, I think how we feel about it is, I ain't asking you to pull your pants down sad. I ain't asking you to wear your hat nowhere that you don't want to wear your hat to.
Right.
I mean, I just feel like it's, why can't your generation or the baby boomer generation or whoever just do what they do, and that's fine.
Right alone.
And why can't we do what we do, and it's fine? I ain't bothering you.
Right.
So why do you have, and that's why I think I said it how I said it earlier. We don't bother y'all.
Yeah.
We don't bother y'all.
Right.
So why do y'all need, and I'm saying y'all, I ain't necessarily saying you, but why do y'all feel the necessity to bother us? We ain't bothering nobody. We right here doing how we do. We ain't worried about what y'all doing at all. So why does it seem like that the other generation's so consumed and so worried with what we doing? Just let everybody vibe the way you want to vibe. If you want to wear your suit to church and your Stacy bottoms and your hot bottoms or whatever the case may be, and you
with the
comfortable
hard
and you
bottoms.
chill and you doing, how you want to do, you praising God. Why can't I come in and praise God with my sweatsuit on and my sneaks on and my hat on? And I'm praising the same God that you praising. We everybody happy. What difference do it matter? We both in here, you know what I'm saying, for Jesus today.
Right. Couple things that have helped me.
Okay.
One is having a teenage daughter.
Okay.
The fact that she is exposed to, what's going on in today's time, she helps me to think. She helps me to be a little bit more relaxed. There are times when Gabby be like, Dad, and I just be like, Gabby, this is just the way we were taught. This is just how it was. See, back in the day, again, kids were seen and not heard. We were told how to think. In other words, when we went to, if my daddy took us to Burger King, it won't go up there and order what you want. It was like they gonna have 2 Happy Meals.
Talked about that last week.
They want the toy.
Talked about that last week.
They want this toy, they want that, so they spoke for us. And in regards to
Kids ain't got no rights.
hey, that's how it was.
Do kids got right?
The kids have rights.
Growing up, absolutely
No,
not.
right now.
Absolutely not.
Right now, they have rights.
Well, I think nowadays kids are able to express themselves more than we were
So they got
able
more
to.
rights than what y'all had.
I would say so, because it's stuff that I allow Gabby to do
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
I couldn't do
even
back
think
in
about
the
doing
day.
it.
And that's all I was saying.
Right, and I'll be honest, it's at a point where I was kind of like, man, I was thrown back because some of the freedom that I wish I had, I didn't have. When it came to get my hair cut, I could go in the barbershop and be like, okay, I know how I want my hair cut. My daddy be like, no, give him a number 1 all the way around.
Cut it all the way off.
Cut it all the way off. I ain't get no choice. I couldn't look at the
All the way
picture.
around.
I couldn't look at the
All the way
picture on the
around.
wall and say, man,
Nah,
give me
don't
that
matter.
right there. It was
need to
just
look in the mirror
my dad
afterwards.
would say this is what it was gonna be, and I always felt like, you know what, man, I never get to express myself, whether it be how I want to wear my hair, how I want to wear my clothes, how I want to dress.
Right.
And I think that now kids got more freedom to do that, and that's why you have such a diverse look when
Absolutely.
it comes to kids in this generation, because you all get more freedom than we had.
So did you change, or do you think that shaped your parenting style, being that you were raised that way? Did you now with Gabby allow her to have a little more say in the way she wanted?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because I hated it. I hated the fact
Absolutely.
that I couldn't express myself.
Absolutely.
I hated the fact that I got a whooping because I asked the lady if she had a wig on.
Absolutely.
I hated the fact that when I went to Burger King, I wanted a Whopper. You gave me a cheeseburger.
That's all I said last week, bro. Like, you know how you felt. I said that last week. You know how you felt as a
Right.
kid.
Yeah.
Right.
So why would you in turn turn around and make your kid feel the same way that you felt?
Right.
If you know,
Now-
like you just said, you know you wanted a Big Mac or cheeseburger, like, so why not now? Why don't you ask your child what they want
Right.
when we at
Right.
McDonald's? They might not want no nuggets.
Right.
That's true.
Now on the other side to that, LJ, I still believe that there are some areas that your kid's mind needs help in
Absolutely.
shaping.
Absolutely.
I don't think that you should just let your kid be free for all and however they think, just let them go for it.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes you got to
But they
reel them
hurt
back
themselves.
in. Right. You got to give them a different perspective and show them. I'll tell Gabby, look, Gabby, the reality is, she do stuff that I would never have done.
Right.
It's like, like Gabby will say to me, she'll express herself to the point where I feel kind of disrespected. Then I got to be like, hold up, who you talking to?
Right.
Because Dad wouldn't have, you couldn't talk to Dad like that.
Right.
And really, she's not being disrespectful. She's just saying, this is how I feel about
Right.
it, Dad.
Right.
And I'm like, wow.
And it's good that she even tells you
Yeah,
how
I'm
she
like,
feel. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I appreciate that because I know how you think now. I know really what's on your mind.
Exactly.
But with me, when I was growing up, you
couldn't
couldn't
do
just
that.
say
You
what
couldn't-
you wanted to.
you couldn't express your
Leon.
feelings.
You didn't have no
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Or no feeling.
Oh boy, you got feeling when you got slapped. And you can say something if you want, but
Right.
if he deemed it as disrespectful, you got served.
Right.
You got paid for it.
Absolutely. So you had to be very, very mindful of how you said stuff.
I agree.
So now, when Gabby is saying stuff like even in college, we talk about the boys and staying focused and stuff like that. I really got to just take a step back and say, man, your daughter's in college, bro. So how you gonna treat this thing? Are you really gonna try to keep her down
Right.
and not let her do certain
Right,
things?
right,
It's
right,
impossible.
You
They
can't
do it.
monitor her phone. It's
Yeah.
like she getting ready to be 20 in November. So really, how
Yeah.
you gonna treat this thing? So
Gas
yeah.
expensive. I can't pull up on it every day.
Exactly. So really, my daughter's helping me to shape my thinking. She's helping me to really look at different perspectives and just being around y'all. I'm learning, to kind of understand the way y'all think. But I do, again, there are still certain non-negotiables for me.
Absolutely.
Express yourself and how you wear your hair. Okay, cool. I'm getting used to that. But the underwear thing, I don't think I'll ever be used to that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever get.
I don't think we should get used to that.
Yeah, I mean I think that's a little far-fetched. I just think, well, in our time, maybe not so. Well, I guess maybe they do it now too.
No, they do it
when
wild
we was in
now.
high school, it was big clothes, right?
Yeah, it was big clothes.
So everything was oversized, overlarge. You
Right.
said, so your
I'm
pants
glad
was
we
hanging
changed
down.
that for
Yeah,
real, man.
your pants was hanging down below your butt and all that. You know what I'm saying? So your underwear is probably showing. And then back at that time, you was wearing shorts.
I was about to
under
say
your
you had
pants.
shorts
So
underneath
you
your
wouldn't
jersey,
even
so
see
it
my
won't know.
underwear. You know what I'm saying? I'll put a pair of shorts on or something. Either way, you still seeing what's underneath my pants.
Right.
So I understand that.
And society is conforming to that now, because even in restaurants, like back in the day, when I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, McDonald's, they had smocks and everybody had to wear the same uniform. You had to look a certain way. So now you go in McDonald's, now they done gave them T-shirts.
I'm about to say,
Now
the cook
they
got the
changed
black
way-
T-shirt
Yeah,
on.
now they changed the way the pants look. So
Right.
you go in McDonald's, the kids sagging in McDonald's, man. It's
Right.
like, wow, dude.
Right.
So it's like society is conforming to, I'd rather let this dude wherever he gonna wear it, at least he gonna come to work.
But and that's I mean.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, we're thugging it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of.
We're thugging it.
We're thugging
And
it.
I don't want to say that we, because obviously there's certain things that you don't want to conform to.
Right.
But I think certain things, I think you just got to measure up and like, okay, is it really that serious, right?
Yeah.
Do I really want to stand so firm on this point that I don't have no workers? Or do I really want to stand this firm on this point that I don't have no young people that want to come to my church? Do I want to stand so firm on this point that, my kids don't want to hang out with daddy or
even
so
come for
it's-
advice.
Right.
And that's
so
the
it's,
key.
So it's like, yeah, I think, if it ain't all that serious, if it ain't all that big of a deal,
gotta
why
pick your
not?
balance.
Yeah. I mean,
But you
know-
got to
Balance.
determine what that is. You got to
Yeah.
determine where you need to stand on and where you can be relaxed in, because I think that a standard still has to be set. I think that growing up, you need to understand that, man, one of these days you're gonna want a good job. You're gonna want to be
Absolutely.
taken seriously. You're gonna want people to look at you and take you for not just face value, but there's more to you than your clothes.
Absolutely.
So I want you to be able to go in an interview, and I want you to be represented well by the way you look, by the way you
Absolutely.
talk. I don't want you going in there speaking broken English. I want you to go in there and represent well, because you're educated and you're a person that has a lot to offer.
I agree.
So there's a standard that I want to be set in Gabby's life.
I agree.
When Gabby come home speaking a certain way, I'm like, Gabby, you in college. You need to listen to what you just said. I'm still checking her on certain things, but not to the point where I'm pushing her away, but still helping her to understand that there is a standard that you still need to be able to stick to and still be able to express yourself at the same time.
Right, I agree. And I think you can do that. I think, hey, look, man, I'm a product of the big clothes. I'm a product of the sagging pants. I'm a product of the cornrows. I'm a product of all that, right? But that
Fronts.
don't mean that I don't know how to talk when I'm supposed to talk. I don't even talk on here like I'm supposed to talk. I can talk proper if I want to.
Yes.
Right. So,
Very
and I
much
think
so.
that's one of the things that just our generation is trying to say. Just because I might have wild hair, or just because I might have big jeans on, or in this day and time skinny jeans on, whatever the case may be, don't mean that I'm uneducated. We got a lot of people out here that's uneducated that got wild hair. We got a lot of people out here that's wearing tight jeans that's educated.
Right.
They didn't been to school. They didn't been to your Virginia Tech and some of the biggest schools you can
True.
think of.
True.
So I think just because I dress like that, and don't mean I'm gonna wear that in an interview. Don't mean I'm going, don't mean I'm going to talk with my Ebonics in the interview. I know when I need to tighten up and wear what I need to wear
But
and
see,
have
that's
my
the
hair
thing,
the
though.
way I need to have. Like, we know those things, but just on my everyday living or whatever case may be, you can't,
That might not
we
be
don't want to be
included.
judged because I feel like having my hair out today.
Right.
Or,
Right, but
whatever
that's the
the case
thing,
may
though.
be.
Kids are being looked at because of how they dress. They're being looked at.
Well, that's
differently.
judgmental, Pastor.
Huh?
That's judgmental.
It's judgmental.
That's what I'm
but,
saying.
But I'm
Judgmental.
talking about the society we live in now.
Yeah.
It's
As
just
young black
judgmental.
men, you being targeted for wearing a hoodie. You being targeted for dressing a certain way.
So how do we change that?
How do we change it? I don't know if
So we can't wear hoodies
I
no
was going
more?
to say that, like,
No,
this problem, you really can't fix it. It's all about what you like. I mean, it's all about a personal opinion.
Right, it's all about
So it
personal
ain't
preference.
about really what's right or what's wrong. It's about what you like and what you don't like.
That's all that we. That's
Right.
all
So
we've said.
is this gap even possible, of being bridged together? I don't know.
I don't think so and the reason why I don't think so is because I honestly think that we have some older generational people who are just legitimately stuck on the ways in which they was taught and raised. Like Pastor just said, there's certain ways that you taught
He
and
ain't
raised,
gonna change.
and that's fine, you know. But just understand, like I said, things do change. I understand you was taught that way. I understand you was raised that way, and that's cool. I ain't saying nothing against that. I'm just saying that just because you were raised that way and you were taught that way don't mean that things have to stay that way.
Right.
But I don't like it. That's all they're saying.
Right,
I don't
you
like it.
and that's
I don't
fine.
like it. Leave me alone.
And that's fine because
And I'm not going to like you.
we were just even saying it. We're not even discriminatory against, right, being stuck in a certain way. We ain't just looking at y'all and saying, no, we don't want to do that because that's just the way y'all was doing it. Y'all stuck in that way. We do that even with our own selves, right? We just finished saying, when I was in high school, we wore big clothes, right? Big clothes ain't in no more.
When I was in high school, we wore the MC Hammer type stuff.
If you still wearing big clothes right now, you
Glitter
look crazy.
vest and stuff.
Right.
And that's still that's us against our own selves, right? You look, we could be on something this month and next month you lame if you still on that. We on something way different now.
He was on Kanye last
Right,
month.
we
now. This
continually
month,
changing.
no Kanye.
I mean, it could be week to week, month to month, year to year. We change. It's not like we just look at the old generations and say we don't want to do we don't want to do something that we was just doing last month. We are a constant changing generation.
True.
So we sure ain't gonna continue to try to do the same thing or get stuck in the way from what people was doing in a whole other generation. We ain't doing the same thing we was doing last week.
Right. But I like
We
you said.
constantly changing.
I like what you said a few minutes ago. You just said a few minutes ago. You said, I know when to talk
Absolutely.
a certain way. I know when to dress a certain
Absolutely.
way. And I think that is important because again, back in the day, mom and dad would always say, every young man needs a suit. For several reasons. For one, you never know if something gonna happen to you. Your ill kid died. Now you got to go and find a suit.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing. And every man need a suit in the closet.
Black suit.
Right. Every man need a suit in the
And a tie.
closet. A pair of shoes. You just need them. I've had several uncles to die, and I had to go and buy them suits or give them one of mine.
Okay.
Because they didn't have one of their own. So it's just different stuff like that you still again try to set a standard so that going forward, we have our stuff in order so that we can continue to advance.
Right.
I had a guy call for the position that we had open, and it was crazy. When he called, he was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
I answer the phone though. Really?
Yeah.
That's how I
but
answer the phone,
you're
yo.
calling. You don't know me personally, first of all.
Okay, yeah.
And you're calling for a job, and you call me like, "Yo,
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
calling.
can't do
I'm
that.
calling. I'm calling
This
about
ain't
the.
Foot Locker.
I'm calling about the position.
You talking like bro, man.
Like really, like yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
call with like, "Hello, how are you? My name
Yeah,
is
I
so
agree.
and so."
I agree.
And for it's not. I don't think it's judging. It's just
Right.
like, wow, guy.
No, I agree. You shouldn't do that.
Right.
And
right.
that's
agree
why
with that.
that's why I
That's
said.
what I
Remember when
like.
I said that earlier? It kind of hurts us a little bit that we don't, like when the old heads try to correct us and we get mad and we don't listen to them. It kind of hurts. It's kind of hurting the new generation because they don't know how to pick up the phone and say hello, sir, or something like that. They're not listening. We're not taking it in.
But it's
And
all
you're
right.
Depends on the
subjective.
situation. I think
That's what I was saying. Situation. Yeah.
But I
He
would
don't see
hope.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but even now, man, just look at society and look at like how the kids are treating the teachers in school.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Teachers are getting beat up by kids, disrespected to a degree
would
that
never
is just crazy, right? So where do this next generation get to the point where they can be taught? Like, guy, you don't do your teacher like that. You don't respond to your teacher that way. Those kind of things. So I think that even though you're expressing yourself and can say and wear your clothes and your hair the way you want to, you still got to be teachable to the point
Absolutely.
where you're able to grow and somebody help you grow. I think every generation needs to be able to look back on that
And
previous
learn.
generation and learn.
Absolutely.
And I think that that this generation has gotten to a place. It may not be the entire generation, but a lot of young kids now, a lot of young people now don't want to learn from nobody. You can't tell them anything.
I agree, Pastor, a little bit.
Just a little bit. A little bit.
I agree with a little bit because, I mean, we can always find cases, right, to support, you know. So, yeah, I think, you know, kids is getting a little wild and cloud. I mean, I watched a clip the other day.
It's sad.
Where a little boy pulled the lady teacher's wig off.
And ran around.
That was crazy. That was.
I would have never thought that.
Oh no, man! If I was in that class, no, we would have been. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, did you see the one where the woman teacher got punched in the face by the kid?
Nice.
I'm telling you, when that kid hit that lady in her face, and she had to get surgery. Wow. And it's like, wow, what if that was your mom, your auntie, or your sister trying to do her job? They don't get paid enough to do it already. Right. And now you got to be subjected to that kind of stuff. And it's like, what is this generation thinking when you go to school to disrupt and not learn?
Right. I agree. And of course, them cases right there, that's just open and shut case, right? We can't.
That's not right.
I can't even debate
that's wrong.
that, right? You know,
I
can't even debate that. You know, those is open and shut cases. I think that though, like I said, it's all just kind of situational things. I mean, I don't think as a whole though, our generation don't want to. I agree that all generations need to learn from each generation.
True.
Right? I think we can look back and learn from the previous generations, and the previous generations can look at us and learn from us if we all willing to do so. I just don't think that we all willing to do so.
Right.
And I don't.
It depends on the area, because like Gabby, man,
it does depend on the area.
She trains me and Tasha on a lot of the technology stuff. It's like Gabby can do all kinds of stuff that we like.
I agree.
How you do that?
I agree.
You know, if I need something ordered off Amazon, I don't do it. I call Gabby. I need this.
I agree.
Before I know it's at the house.
Right.
Techno literacy.
So we can all learn from each other. I think a few things though. I think number one, what I think previous generation, because I can only speak for our generation, right? So I think the previous generations got to understand that even in learning from y'all, right, I still got to, like if I don't, you got to be kind of productive in the area in which you're trying to teach me about.
Right.
Right. You can't try to teach me about something that I don't really see no fruit from you in this area. You know, that's number one. And we know, we look at those kind of things. You trying to tell me something, bro, it don't even look like you followed your own advice, right?
True.
And then, you know, go ahead. What was you going to say?
I was just going to say that presents another dilemma, because back in the day it was do as I say, not as I do.
Right, but see, that's the problem, right? So I think here's one of the things that I think the previous generations get mad at our generation because I feel like we the first generation to really just question a lot of things. We gonna just question it, right? We ain't gonna see y'all for
we
y'all.
We didn't have that freedom,
right? Well, you had the freedom. Y'all just chose not to do it.
No, we didn't.
Yes, you did.
No.
Well, okay.
We did not have the freedom. We did not have the freedom to ask questions. It was what it was. Whatever Dad said was what it was.
You had the freedom. You just chose either you was gonna go, you was gonna get
that
something
beating
going upside your head,
or you was gonna ask that question.
You had an option.
Just like you said. Just like
I'm telling you, you chose not to question.
Again, we talking about the way we were raised. You didn't have that option. Gabby has that option. Like even when Gab was a baby, I could say, Gabby, I need you to put your shoes on, do this. Gab would say, but why?
You always got an option.
No.
You know that, Pastor. You always got an option.
You just hold on.
There's consequences.
You just said it though.
There's consequences to your options and your choices. But
when
you
got
have
beaten.
See, that's what you're saying. You're telling me I had an option.
You did.
I'm telling you there was no option. I'm telling you.
Your option was to question it, and if you got one upside your head, you got one upside your head. You got a whooping, you got a whooping. You had the option to ask that question. You chose not to answer it because you knew the consequence that was going to come for asking the question.
Right.
So you had an option to ask the question, Pastor. You just chose not to answer.
But who takes a beating? Like that's not really an option.
Right.
I did a lot of things knowing I was going to get a beating. Mama tell me not to go outside, I'm on punishment.
I wasn't that kid.
Don't
I
you
didn't
leave,
do that.
If you leave, I might try to sneak
Look,
go
Juicy,
outside.
I didn't do
You
that.
know,
I ain't supposed to watch TV
I think
for a
that's
week.
different.
I ain't supposed to watch TV for a
I
week.
think that's
if you
different.
ain't paying attention, I might sneak and watch TV. And if
I
I
think
get
that's
caught,
different.
I know I'm gonna get a beating.
No, I think that's different. Like there were times when my dad would say, "Don't y'all go outside," but then we played mom against dad. Dad said we couldn't go out. Mom would say, "Y'all can go out." But if daddy catch you, daddy, I don't care what your mama said.
You gonna get a
I
beating.
said you gonna get a beating if he catch you.
Did you ever try to go outside though,
And got caught and got a whooping.
No, but then you two, you
No,
had
but
the
I'm
choice.
talking-
Certain things you didn't take like certain
Right.
things you didn't have an option of.
Right.
My dad
Right.
said right here, get a haircut. What I'm supposed to do? Fight my dad? He said,
Right.
I'm getting number one. I got to get a number one. Ain't no option.
Right.
Or I'm going to fight my dad right here.
That's-
Or get a beating right here.
Right,
Ain't
ain't
no
no
option.
fighting. I'm gonna
Of
get
course,
beat.
My
it's
dad said, come do it this way right now. Other option is say no and then like
Right.
solve it right now.
I agree,
Right.
of course, especially, I mean, because obviously if your daddy taking you to get a haircut, you still young at that point. You're 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Of course, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. But see, again, you coming from your era, I'm coming from my era where, again, kids were seen and not heard. You couldn't ask questions. It was like, these are the marching orders.
How does
This is
that
what's getting ready to
change?
happen.
how does that change?
How does it change? It changed now
When
because
we start asking questions, right? See, it don't change, nothing change
No.
until you start
it
kind
changed.
of
It
subtly
changed.
going against.
It changed when the next generation allowed questions to be asked. Because
like your
now
parents didn't
I
change.
allow Gabby
Yeah.
to ask questions because I want her to. I want to see her thinking shaped.
Mm-hmm.
I want her ability to do conflict resolution,
'Cause more
to
stuff
be
out here.
strong.
There's more stuff out here.
I
And
think
that
it's a little
comes
bit of
from
that. I
and
think it's
that
a
comes
mix.
from being asking. That comes from her being able to ask questions, to be able to debate, all that kind of stuff.
I think
But
it's a little bit
again,
of a mix.
Hmm?
I think it's a little bit of a mix. It's just like Rosa Parks with the bus, right? Until somebody makes a stand and sit in a seat that they ain't supposed to sit in, we continue to sit in the back of the bus.
mm-hmm,
We ain't wait until we was allowed to sit in the front of the bus.
mm-hmm,
Somebody got to make the stand and say, you know what, there's going to be consequences for me sitting in this seat,
mm-hmm.
but I'm going to sit in this seat. It takes the sit-ins. When we know we ain't supposed to be sitting in these restaurants and eating in these restaurants, we're not allowed to be in this restaurant. But people go in and they sit at this seat and take whatever consequence coming for sitting at this restaurant. Y'all know y'all not supposed to be in here. We know we not supposed to be in here eating, but we going to go in here because until we start to try to go against what is tradition and culture, things don't change. You got to go against it a little bit before you start to see people come around a little bit. But if you don't never try, if you never try and don't never change that, when the parents just gonna all of a sudden say, oh, I think we'll just allow. But now somebody had to be starting to engage this a little bit.
But
somebody got to do something.
True. I get it. But it's certain things that just like even now,
Somebody got to be willing to get that whooping. Somebody got to be willing to get that head went upside.
Yeah, I want that person.
I'm just saying, but somebody got to do
I
it.
want that person.
Like it's like I
Right.
tweeted it earlier today. And the first always take the heat, right? The first person always take the heat. You just gotta be willing to take the heat. The first person gonna always take the heat, and then everybody else get the benefit of being able to ask the questions
Yes, sir.
because somebody was willing to, you know what I'm saying, get their head went upside.
right.
You
But-
got to start, and I just feel like our generation is the first generation, and that's why we always call it the rebels, or we disobedient, or we disrespectful, or whatever the case may be, because our generation, Pastor, I feel like is the first generation to really stand up and question things. Why is this? Okay, you said you was raised this way and taught this way. Well, why? Why was you raised that way and taught that way? Why do you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you can't give no other definitive answer other than this just what mama and daddy taught me, that's not going to do it for us.
Right.
We need a legit answer. I don't want
Right.
to hear just because you was raised that way and that's how mama taught you. Okay, cool,
Right.
but why did mama raise you that way and teach you that way? I need a real answer to that. And if you can't give me a real definitive answer to that, then I can't go with your logic.
Just
Because
like-
you're just
Right.
doing something just because somebody told you to do it.
Just like you in that wig. You
Right.
keep, every time she said app, he was like, no, I
Right.
need to know. Like,
Right.
I think that's just
Right.
a case that mama just didn't want her son
I know, I
embarrassing
understand.
me.
No, I
You
was
know, we
just-
all
yeah,
understand.
we
'Cause, like,
understand
you know,
that. I
I don't
understand
want KJ to go
Yeah,
around and say
saying
something like,
certain-
come on, man. Like, you know, come on, man.
Chill out,
Come
man.
on, man. Come on, man. Like, no,
Right.
I know what you're going to like, no.
But for
Chill,
me,
bro.
but it's I think it's a healthiness in that because again, allowing
In
a
which,
person's
in which statement?
you say you don't want LJ,
KJ,
know,
yeah.
going
Absolutely.
around and saying
Absolutely. No, I
something
agree
gonna
with
embarrass
that.
you.
Yes, I
But
agree with that.
I'm saying just stuff like, you know, when you're just trying to be inquisitive, trying to figure things out, you got to ask questions. But you know what you just said, LJ, was I think that there has to be somebody that's going to change things, that's going to make that stand, and I agree to a certain point.
Okay.
But I also again go back to some of the problems that we're having today with the next generation is because there isn't enough restraint, and the problems that we are experiencing is because there's nobody there to say no. There's nobody there to say,
Okay.
this is how you're supposed to think and this is how you're supposed to respond in certain, in this kind of situation.
Okay.
I had
absentee parents is kind of what you
absentee
are you going with
parents,
that?
Role models,
or parents who just allow their kids to do whatever they want to, just so they can be free and do whatever they
I
want
can't
to.
stand
Good
them
life.
like
Okay.
that, man.
And it's hurting society.
Okay.
I don't want, even with Gabby's learning stuff now, boy. I love the fact that she's staying in the dorm because now she learning that all the time I was telling her to clean her room at home. Now she get in there and these chicks don't want to clean up. Now
Right.
she's
Mad.
like, she hot.
Right.
Yeah. Now I see what Dad was talking about, and so now she's learning it from a different perspective. But again, I think context and everything, LJ, has a lot to do.
Big deal.
It has a lot to do with why we did what we did, why we learned the way we learned, why my daddy did us the way he did. It was because him growing up, it was the way his mom and dad trained him, and the only way he knew how to train us was how he was trained. And so as you grow older, you learn from the way you grew up. I learned that, you know what, I wanted to express myself more, so I wasn't able to do that. So Gabby, you get a little bit more freedom in that area.
Right.
Gabby, when you go shopping, I'm not gonna tell you which clothes to pick out. I'm gonna say, no, Gabby, you not be wearing that.
Right.
You ain't wearing that out this
Right,
house.
right.
But I'm gonna still say, Gabby, what do you want? What do you like?
Right.
As
agree.
opposed to me telling her what she's
I
gonna
agree.
get.
I like
so
that.
I give her that freedom to really express herself and her learn who she really is.
I like that. I agree.
And me
that's,
learn who she is.
That right there is in line with what I was
I
saying
was about to
last
say,
week.
the same way. The same
That's
way, man.
that's in line. I mean, I just feel like I agree with that. You learn from how you grew up, but don't do me just the way you was done how you grew up.
Right. And I
That's
got
all
to check
I'm
my
saying.
wife sometimes because even now, Gabby will put on something and Tasha be like, I can't believe you going to wear that. I'm like, Tasha,
Right.
this girl 19.
Right.
She know what she want to wear as long as it ain't revealing too much,
Right.
as long as it ain't too tight. As long as she ain't looking like real crazy,
Right.
let her wear what she want to wear.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
You got anything? What you got?
I
down
mean,
there?
I'm just taking it in. No, because
Everything. What you got?
no,
down
I'm
there?
listening because I'm taking it
Say
all
something.
in because it's like it's just showing me because, as you say, you just show like how I was raised. Like you stickler about no talking back. I don't have any kids, so me over here, I'm like, yeah, I'm raised like not to say nothing back, not to say anything. Period. Just be quiet or just say or ask questions. But I was just thinking about like I don't have any kids, so that's opening y'all up more. I see LJ, like I told him this morning, I see him like open up with more change now because he got KJ.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And me not having no kids, I'm just a stickler. So it's like helping me now, just showing me like you can be open, just off rip, just
Right.
you ain't even got to wait for kids. That's all I'm
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I mean,
just
like,
learning from
It's all
y'all.
about having an
Even with-
open mind.
Yeah, I'm
Even
learning
with
from
just
y'all.
respecting elders.
Yes.
That was just something that was always drilled in us.
That's true.
You respect your elders. I don't care who they are.
Right.
I could just yesterday we were at Shaking Crab. Little girl walked past me, and I said, "Hello, young lady." She said, "What up?"
What up, old man?
Kept going. I was like, okay, wow.
Right.
And then one day I was delivering packages for FedEx, man, and I had a handful of stuff, and his kid was getting ready to go into school. And so I'm trying to get into the building, and he was like, yo, you need some help? I was like, yeah, young man, thank you. He say, well, you still do.
Like, whoa.
I said, man.
That was Bart right there.
I'm about to get him.
Yeah, I really was like some
man,
up.
I was like, yeah, you still do.
Right. But that's something that
Right.
we
You
would never have
we would
done
never do it.
in our
Yeah,
generation.
yeah.
an adult, if you offer help, you're gonna help them.
Yeah.
What'd you do though when you did that? You chuckled a little bit. didn't
Yeah, it
you?
was just like, wow, he really did that.
This how
like,
the new generation is for real.
Like this new generation is wow. And I was going to Maury High School too, so I was just
You
like,
still
wow,
do.
Yeah, still do.
you still do. But you know, back in the day, we were taught to respect our elders,
right.
and my dad would say, when you go out of this house, when you go to school, do not embarrass me. So in other words, if I got in trouble, I bring embarrassment to the household, to the household name.
Right.
And so he like, look, you get suspended if you want, but I'm gonna work you out wherever you acted out. And he said, you know, don't come home and embarrass me because your teacher had to call me to tell me that my child didn't know how to act. Right? So it was just certain things like that, man, that our generation, you know, we just understood that it was just certain things you were not gonna do.
That's true.
So here's the thing, right? I agree with that 100%.
100
Supposed to respect your elders.
at all times. Yes, sir.
All
yes,
time.
man.
Where you go with that, L? Okay,
Yes.
now where we going?
Because I just don't.
You can see something, right?
He laid it out.
Yeah,
quick.
he laid it out.
know it's coming,
I respect my
You know it's
elders.
coming. Because I agree with that. We're supposed to respect our elders at all times. Yes, sir. Absolutely, we are. But I just don't want us to give the impression, though, as though we did always do all those things 100% of the time, right? Because okay, majority of the time you may have, right? Where there's always some times where you with your homies or you did something that you weren't supposed to do, whether it was acting up in class. I mean, I think respecting your elder is part of just being in class. Your teacher is honestly in charge of you at the moment. You supposed to do what she say.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
None of us did. Is that what the teacher say all the time?
All
You
the
was
time.
talking, you was up in your seat, you turn around, you chewing gum, you eat.
But
you
that's
sneaking-
natural
you sneak-
behavior, LJ. I'm talking about
I'm
the
just
extreme
saying.
stuff.
We supposed to respect our elders
Right.
all the time.
That's a kid being a kid.
Right. Right.
So I think the same. I mean, I think my man went a little bit out of his way to get you with a solid one.
He did. He couldn't
I
even have
think he
that.
went out of his way to get you with a solid one.
Right.
So, perspective, right? Generation to generation. You might have took it as disrespect.
Uh-huh.
I would have took it as Bishop would say, and he quote Martin, a little jokey joke.
Jokey.
I don't think he would really try and be disrespectful to you.
If it was
I
a
just
jokey
think-
joke, he would have helped me.
I just think he saw opportunity to get you with one.
Yeah, get an old
Cause it was a
man.
joke. That was a joke.
Yeah.
Like that was he planted that out. He
Pull
saw
one
you.
on you.
He pulled one on you.
He pulled one on you.
And you fell for it. You answered.
But like that was funny.
It was funny.
Yeah,
That's why
that
we all
was funny.
laughed
We
when
were
he
holding
did
the
it.
ball.
Like,
Even
it
you
was
laughed,
funny.
like, yeah.
It was a jokey joke. He got one on you, and you probably felt you probably felt a certain type of way about it. You know what I'm saying? And it may have been something that you probably would not. I wouldn't even have done it when I was in
Nah,
school.
The thing was,
I wouldn't have thought about that.
I didn't even ask him for his help, and I'm used
That's
to
how you
struggling
should
to
have
get in
known.
buildings and stuff
But that's-
anyway.
but right then, that's how you should
So
have
I'm
known.
like, dude, ain't he had to
Cause
do
when
that?
the last time a young person asked you something like that, you need something like somebody that you just didn't know just came out of you willingly. You come out to go to the store, anything, and a young person like that asked you if you need some
Now,
help.
but because of the way you were raised, though, when was the last time you just helped somebody just because that's how you
I
were
can't
raised?
tell you right
I do
now.
all the time.
I do.
I can't tell
I do
you
it
like-
too.
but
I
But
still
I
do
can't
too.
tell you off the top of my head when the
Right.
last time I did it. I'm sure I have.
Right.
But I'm just saying, when was the last time, though, that a young person that you did not know from nothing just came to you and asked you just for some random, or just wanted to give you some random help?
Man, I'm gonna tell you like when I first got to the Mount, Ashley, bruh daughter,
Okay.
she was down at when we was at the Little Red Church, and when I got in, it was my first time being here. I was working with JP, getting ready to preach and stuff, and she stepped to me and she was like, Reverend Rogers, whatever you need, if you need anything, we here for you.
Okay.
So anything you need, you just let us know what you
Okay.
need. And I'm like, wow.
Okay.
And so we got young people who
So
still.
that was. Let me see. The first red
1990.
That was a little while
Well,
ago.
it was early 2000s.
Early
But the
2000s.
thing was, Ashley was a young girl then. But it just goes to show you, even at her age, we still have
Yeah, I
respectful kids that.
I agree. I ain't saying we
Right.
don't.
Right.
I ain't saying we don't. We do. I'm just saying, even when that question I just asked you, you had to go back 20 years. And I asked you when the last time
go
a
back-
random person you ain't know gave you some help, young person gave you some help, and you had to go back 20 years.
Well,
So
I
you
went back to
shoulda known.
that. I went back to that
20 years.
because now that's crazy. Because here's the thing. For me to have to go back to a moment that far away to say
shouldn't
that
have
stuck
to.
in my mind.
You shouldn't have had to.
Right.
Right.
Because it should be something that happens all
Daily.
the time.
Daily.
But the point that I was trying to make though is you should have known right then when that young man asked you, do you need some help? That should have triggered something in your mind.
Last
right
time I got
then.
asked for some help
You
was
know
20
what?
years ago.
Last time somebody did
I'm
this to me
doing
was 20 years ago. Now, this is my lucky day. It was my birthday, or like you should have known.
And you ain't my son.
But again, I look at
I think, so
Hey, young man,
I'm
sure.
used to-
Come on, grab one of these bags.
see at that age, I'm even today.
Right.
To my elders, I say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir,
Me too,
no,
me
sir.
too.
So if that were me and it was a grown man coming in the building needed help, I'm gonna say yes, sir, I got you. Open the door
Right.
for him. So again, it's how you've been cultured.
If
It's
I
how,
had did the joke, I probably would have did the joke, but I
But
still
would
would
help
have.
You would still
That
help.
still would
Right.
help you. That
I'd
still
like
would
still
help.
do
Exactly.
it.
They walked in,
Right.
they
Came
came
back.
back.
right.
That's what I would have did.
That's the
Right.
difference. Now
Exactly.
they going all the way. This
He was like,
yeah.
no, you still do.
You still
and no,
went to
really,
class.
Right.
Really, you still
You
do.
still do.
Like, no, I'm gold, bro.
Went to class on you. And he might not even went to class.
Exactly.
Oh man, that was. But again, just different perspective. Like I just look at it as a joke. I thought it was a joke. I wouldn't look at it as just blatant. Like Bishop would say, just blatant disrespect.
Right.
I
But let's
wouldn't
even
look
go
at
back
it
to the
as-
hats, LJ, because like me and my dad can be sitting in the building. We done took our hat off. My brother come in, and you know how my brother dress.
Right.
My brother gonna wear the polo hat that matches this polo shirt. and
Absolutely.
That's
He
how
gonna
Sean.
be all the way
that's
from head to toe.
from head to toe. That's how Sean flow.
Absolutely.
And me and dad would be
Sean
like.
be clean too. I
Right.
see you, Sean.
And dad be
see
sitting there and he'll look at me and say, look at this joker right here. He in the building with his hat on. You know, we eating dinner. He got his hat on. He eating. And me and dad is sitting there bugging because.
and y'all twins.
Right.
So same generation.
Right.
Right.
Same generation. He's just seeing things differently.
Different
It's
personal
now,
preference.
It's outfit. It's a
Right.
preference.
Right.
Right. But again, for some of us, we still see it as disrespectful.
Right.
You're supposed to take your hat when you come off when you come in the building.
Right.
You
So it's
know.
all perspective, right?
Right. Right.
It's all perspective, and so I just think that why can't we, generation to generation, right, just respect each other? Since we talking about respect and disrespect, why can't we just respect each other's
Difference,
generation, or
Generational
respect each other,
differences.
right? Respect each other's generational differences, and we all just live our best lives, man, and just man,
We ain't trying to hurt nobody.
yeah, it's just like.
We was just trying to live our
Come
life.
on, guys. I mean, like, okay, you got how you do, and we got how we do, and the post millennials got how they do, right? And it's cool.
Right.
It ain't no, for instance, you got, I'm a sports guy, right? So you always get the old sports guys that be mad at these young guys now because they getting these humongous contracts and everything like that. And it's just like, man, like, why you mad? I mean, you really just mad at the fact that I was
You didn't
born.
make that money.
Oh, right. That you, it ain't my fault you was born in 1952.
Right.
And these
Well, your
guys
contract
right,
was
right,
$500.
and these
Yeah.
guys
They was
right
rich for
now
y'all back
is
then.
born in 1993 and 94. It ain't their fault.
Right.
I
But
mean, you
I
just
like how
simply
Michael
just mad.
I like how Michael Jordan put it though. Michael Jordan said, "What you're doing is," he says, "What you're doing is you're telling these young kids that they haven't even stepped on the court yet, and they're making a salary that really should come after time,
Right.
after you've proven
Well,
yourself."
they think that it should come after a period of time.
Right.
The older generation
But
assumes
look
that
at
it
Mike.
should come after a
Mike
period
was
of
probably
time.
one of the best players ever, but I think Michael Jordan was making $3 million.
Right, 5 million, something like that. Right.
Some low number. Most of his money came from endorsements.
Absolutely.
And he's saying what you're doing is you're giving these young kids, the thought process that, you know what, I've already arrived, when they still got to get on the court and still prove who they are.
Yeah, but they all got to play. But
Where would it come from the old school when they say
the
you
money
got it
just
easy
wasn't
out here?
there,
young
man.
man.
Right.
If the money was there, they
They
would
would've
have
got it.
They was
would've got it,
getting
yeah.
Right, that's
right.
all I'm
They
saying.
was
Like,
getting
yeah,
for their time.
it's just like I don't think it happened because of that process.
Just the money wasn't there.
That thought process, like you say, it just was just a total
A
different
different
time. That's
Right.
that's all it was. I don't think it was really no thought process behind it. Like,
True.
Again, he just trying to from a different generational perspective. He just trying to say, yeah, well, you got to earn this, that, and the third. And I agree, you should earn whatever you get. You know, but that ain't why the kids is getting more now. They got it's just the bottom line is that's what money was at that particular time.
Right.
And that's what you got.
Man,
and it ain't these guys' fault that they coming at a later time and getting more money.
Right.
What are you really mad about? You just mad at your birth date. That's
Pretty
because they ain't do nothing. I mean, like, it ain't the kids' fault. What they supposed to do? Turn it down?
Nah.
They supposed to say, "No, you right, man. I ain't deserve this yet," or blah blah blah. Like, come on. It's strictly just a different time. That's all it is. Y'all got what y'all got at y'all time, and they getting what they getting at this time. It's really nothing to be up in arms about.
That's true.
Other than the fact that you just a little envious of the fact that these guys
They
is
get more
making
money.
more money in one contract than you probably made over your whole career.
Whole career. Yep.
You know, it's just different times, man. And it's, you know, it ain't nobody's
Nothing wrong.
fault.
Ain't
and
no
with-
wrong
with
be mad
time
about
we
It
that.
ain't
born,
their fault.
Right? And
Right.
just like it ain't our fault, right? So we was born in, I was born in 85. It ain't my fault that I was born in 85. Somebody else was born in 53, and you had to, you know, go through whatever the case
Slavery
may
or
be.
whatever.
Jim Crow and all
You
that
know,
stuff,
it's
yeah.
just that's the times in which you came up in.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you the other thing. I just think that, you know, obviously you always want to appreciate, right, the people that come before you and
Always.
you know, show your respect and all that
Always.
sort of thing, right? But
Always.
I don't think you just walk around just looking for somebody, you know, to, you know, kiss your butt for whatever it is you've been, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you went through your span or you went through your walk of life, just like saying I'm gonna have to go through my walk of life. Like, you went through your walk of life and did what you were supposed to do to get us to this point, right? Of course, we thank y'all, we appreciate y'all and all that sort of thing. But like, man, I ain't got time to be walking around trying to make sure I let you know I appreciate what you did and all. I mean, like, you did what you were supposed to do to get to this point, and I'm gonna make sure that I live and do what I'm supposed to do to get to this point, so that KJ and everybody else can get to the point that they supposed to get to. We all just gotta do our job, live and walk through our life and do what we supposed to do, so that the next generation behind us can continue and do the same thing.
Right.
So, like, you know, yeah, we appreciate y'all, but like, man, I ain't trying to, I mean, good gracious, you want somebody to kiss your butt all the time because you had to walk 20 miles to get to school and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that was your situation in life. Like, yeah, I mean, thank you that y'all made the buses come through the neighborhood now.
Right.
I mean, like, thanks, but
I hear what you're
you
saying.
gotta keep reminding me of. I mean, like, I gotta do things too for the next generation, and I ain't gonna necessarily just want appreciation and things. Like I lived my life.
Right, but the thing is, you want people to be appreciative and grateful for what they have and where they are. Because just like with Gabby, she was able to experience stuff that we couldn't because money was different back then.
Right.
She's, you know, kids these days, you know, back in the day, we had Atari, Sega Genesis. Now kids got, you know, PlayStations and all this stuff where the stuff looks so real.
Right.
And yeah, we had a little basketball game with a dot that you had to go around 4 other dots and then put it in a box. That was a basketball game.
Okay.
So when you look at that kind of stuff, and now you look at what the kids have these days, and they don't even appreciate that. It's like, wow, when we were coming up, we didn't have the stuff that you guys are able to experience now. And it's like you see some kids that just don't appreciate it, and then they feel like, you know, they got this entitlement thing, like you're supposed to have it. Like, no, you're blessed to have what you have and blessed to live the way that you live. You know, back in the day, the first pair of Jordans I bought was $69, and I bought them myself with my own job. My parents didn't buy them. We got parents now buying $300 Jordans for kids, sitting out in a line for kids who got C's and D's on their report cards, who disrespect them, who don't clean a room and all this kind of stuff. So I think that, you know,
are we mad?
I don't think that we mad. I think that still, you know, I think that we still got to teach some lessons. I think that, you know, you got to know that you're not entitled to the things that you have. You know, you're blessed to have what you have.
Sure.
The fact that your parents were able to provide more for you, you need to understand that when your mom say or your dad say, you know, I had to do this, it ain't so they can just keep throwing it down your throat. They just trying to help you understand. Look,
Appreciate that more.
appreciate what you have, because you don't know how hard it was for us to get what we had.
I feel that way too. That's how I feel, Pastor Ron.
And you'll see when KJ, when he get 17 and Jordan's $500 a pair, you know, you're gonna be like, hold up, bro. Did you see your last report card? Your last report card did not say Michael Jordan's.
Well, I agree with
And
that.
then you go hit him with the. I remember when Jordans was $92 when I was getting them.
I agree with that. I mean, of course, I'm a product of, unfortunately, bad grades, right? So I'm not a prone to reward bad grades, but once again, times. okay, you just said Jordans was $60 when you was coming up.
First
right?
pair of Jordans,
So,
$69.99.
Right. So we're talking about difference in the generation. So times change, right?
It's
So
90
from
and ours.
60, so from $69 from your time,
Mm-hmm.
times change.
Right.
When I was coming up, they was like $1.25,
Mhm.
$1.50 maybe. Like I think the most expensive pair was $200 at one
Mhm.
time, and that was only like one pair for real.
Mhm. The
You know,
suitcase pair.
You got 2 pair with them.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, you got the suitcase
got
and
the
all
suitcase,
that
yeah,
with it.
yeah,
You want
yeah,
2 pair of
yeah.
shoes, but
Yeah,
you got
yeah,
some. You
yeah,
got some
yeah.
extra.
Yeah.
Right.
CD,
so
yeah.
so right. So the only thing is, times change. They're gonna be more by the time KJ get up. I mean, like it's inevitable. They're
But you
gonna
know
be
why I
more.
appreciated mine more? Because I had to work for them. And I had to save 2 checks to
Man,
get them.
you think that you appreciate it more? See, like that's right
No, no.
there lies the point.
I
You
know.
think you appreciate yours more than I appreciate mine.
When you have to work for something, you appreciate it more than when it's given to you. That's hands down.
Yeah, you do.
Right, but for
You
you
won't
to
get them as
say,
dirty as
for
fast.
you to say that you appreciated a pair of shoes more than I appreciate, that's just your assumption. You think you appreciated your shoes more than I appreciate mine. You can't tell me that how you know how much I appreciate my shoes.
I
you
wouldn't
got them
say
dirty
I
more.
wasn't saying
I'm just
you
saying,
personally.
period.
I'm saying
Just period.
I'm saying me when my mom and
I
dad
just
wouldn't.
don't like that.
First of all, my mom and dad wouldn't buy me a pair of Jordans.
Mine's either.
I had to go and buy my own. so the fact that I worked for them and had to save to get them,
It made you more appreciative.
it made me appreciate
I'm
them
just
more
saying-
because I knew it took me 30 hours to make that money at Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I mean, I just
and then
think- I
the, and
think
then the
that's-
stuff that was given to you
Right.
was like, I got it.
Even if somebody
Right.
gave me a pair of shoes, I'm not dirtying up my shoes, please. You could give me a pair of shoes and I could work
mean,
for a
that's
pair of
true.
shoes. I don't want my shoes dirty. I'm
I mean,
not
that's
walking
true.
through the grass with my shoes. I'm not walking through no mud with my shoes. I'm not playing no basketball with my shoes. I'm not scuffing these shoes up.
So would
they
you-
my shoes.
Well, listen.
Don't tell me that you appreciate your shoes any more than mine. I can have a pair that I work for. I can have a pair that grandma gave me. I appreciate them shoes just the same. I'm not dirty
grandma
up these
g-
shoes.
grandma-
Right.
Right.
My shoes.
Grandma
Would you
gave me
say
the
as-
wheat
Would you
pairs.
say as a whole though? Would you say as a whole? Would you say that the next generation coming behind us have this entitlement thing where they think that they're supposed to have?
I think each generation of parents would tell you that their kids felt whatever certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's y'all, whether it's us, whether it's gonna be the kids coming behind us. Your parents would say the same thing that you saying about your kids, and you gonna say the same thing about these kids, and we gonna say the same thing about each generation is gonna feel like the kids don't appreciate because they ain't had to work as hard as the previous generation. That's what we talking about right now. Each generation is gonna feel that way. Because to the point, each generation is supposed to do better than the last generation.
That's
so
a true
if
statement.
you're going to say that, then how you going to in turn turn around and tell me that I ain't got it as hard as you? I ain't supposed to have it as hard as you. I ain't supposed to have to work for my shoes as hard as you work for your shoes. I ain't supposed to. So don't tell me
Supposed
that
to.
now I'm entirely opposed to.
supposed
That's how I'm
to.
feeling right now. That's my
Yeah.
vibe. I ain't supposed to. So you want me to do better the next generation, but then at the same time, you want to keep reverting back to what you had to do and this, that, and the third. I ain't supposed to have to do what you had to do. That's why you did it. And I don't expect KJ to have to do what I had to do. That's why I did it. That's why he gonna get them $300 shoes. Because Daddy went to work. Daddy did what he was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he ain't got to hear it, man. Daddy had to do such and such. You don't appreciate them shoes the way I appreciate them. I gave you them shoes, man. You ain't had to work for them shoes. You had to work for my shoes. It ain't supposed to be like that. But at
Okay.
the same time, do we want to go back and say, well, you don't do this, blah, 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 but you want the next generation better.
Right.
You don't want
Right.
them to have to go through what you had to go through.
Right. But we want them to
But you want
value.
them to,
We want them to value where they are and what they have, because just look at it, the way that the crime is now, and people getting shot and stuff like that, is like the value of life is not like it used to be.
I agree. I mean, that's
people
two
pull the
different
trick.
extremes, but
I'm just saying
that's
though,
that's what it is.
it's the same thing. Do you value life? Do you value where you are? To the point where it helps you to think better.
well, Pastor, this ain't once again, this ain't a new time. Kids ain't just now getting shot and killed by police. People was getting killed and shot by police when you was young. Well, how old was you when Rodney King happened?
How old was I when Rodney King?
Probably young.
What year was it?
In the 90s. How old was you
What
in the
year was
90s?
What year was it?
You was young.
Stop that. And he
You
was
was
serious.
young. You just say 52. You be what? 52 in April?
Now I'll be 50.
50 in April.
I'll
You
be
was
50.
young in the 90s.
So in the
Man,
90s,
this
yeah.
ain't new.
See, in the 90s,
I'm just
I was in the Marine Corps. I was married.
This ain't new.
But you can agree that it's getting more crazier. And
Absolutely.
bruh.
Absolutely.
Bruh.
I mean, I
Once
won't back
again,
then, but it's
once
getting more.
again, guy, I'm just saying, like, we gotta act like, this stuff ain't new, man.
But see, that's I think the problem with the previous generation is like, like you're saying, it ain't supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be. Okay, I
Right.
get it. Every
I mean, that's
generation
just
is
what y'all
supposed.
tell us.
No, but every generation is supposed to do better. But I think that there's some lessons that we still got to take on the journey, so that we don't forget things, so that we don't repeat mistakes, so that we do better in the next generation.
I agree.
Excuse me.
I
we
agree,
won't.
but I'm just saying, so I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you coming with the appreciation factor
Mm-hmm.
and gonna tell us as a generation that we don't appreciate certain things. I feel like how Andre said earlier before the cameras even cut on, you ain't keeping the same energy either. You said that that they think we got it easy. Isn't that what you said?
That's the key
That
word.
They think we got it easy. We
That's
don't
what the
gotta
old
do
heads say.
nothing. We
Yeah.
just whatever.
Yeah,
Right? That's how they honestly feel. They
Yeah.
do feel that we got it easier.
yeah,
Right?
that's true.
Oh,
But
things
I
are a
agree.
lot easier
But
nowadays.
I agree. But I think that we supposed to have it a little easier. Like, that's just the point I'm trying to make. We should not have to have the same struggles that the previous generation had if they did what they were supposed to do.
No, I agree. I agree
We
with you.
should have it a little bit easier than the previous generation, and the generation after us should have it a little easier than we got it.
I mean, you're right
if
about
we
that.
do what we supposed to do. I'm saying, so we say these things, guys, and then like we contradict them by telling the generation, like,
I don't think it's a contradiction.
When you tell a generation, like when y'all say that we got it easier, or when y'all say that y'all appreciate it more, y'all saying it with a knock. It's with shade. Y'all ain't saying it in a way where like, yeah, this is the way it's supposed to be. Y'all say it with shade. That comment is made with shade. It's a down to us.
Okay, let me
That's
say this,
how y'all putting
LJ.
it.
Let me say this. I
Would
don't
you
think
agree?
I don't think it's shade.
It's shade.
I don't think it's shade. I think that, just like Andre said, nowadays it's easier for this generation, like you said. If we do our job and do what we're supposed to do, it's supposed to be easier for the next generation. But when I was growing up in church, this was unheard of. A bowling alley, a basketball
Absolutely.
gym at church.
Absolutely.
These kind of things weren't heard of. So when I come in here, it's still like a wow to me, because I know what it was without this.
It's a wow to me.
Right. Because you remember,
It
because you've been in
should be a
church all your
wow.
life.
It should be a wow to any young person, pastor, that come in here, because we can go to any other probably the 200 churches in this city, and you probably don't see it.
Right.
Right, so it should. That's
Right.
why you do it. It should be a wow to even a younger. Of course, it's a wow to y'all, but I'm almost positive it's still a wow to most young people that walk in here.
Oh, okay.
And with the understanding that it's a church.
Can I say this? This is where my mind was going when I keep the same energy, but my mind was just thinking. I put myself when I see when I see kids now and they're playing basketball, I say, man, they got it easy out there, man. This recruiting thing easy. This is where I put my mind at. Well,
You mean like AAU basketball?
AAU basketball, getting in the school period. Like we got the Instagram, we got videos, cell phones now. We do it. They do it themselves now.
Okay.
That's why I put my mind there. It got easier. Well, their training still don't have to change. You see what I'm saying? They still need to train hard.
I'm gonna say, 'cause these kids
They still have to
nowadays are
train
putting
hard.
in
That's what I'm
work
saying. But me saying it's easy to a little head. Like I come to, man, y'all balling, man. This basketball ain't nothing nowadays. But I don't want him to think that I'm knocking him. I want him.
doing.
But I'm not. I'm honestly saying
What are you
he needs
saying?
to keep that training hard, that mentality, just to remind him that you need to keep going hard. Don't think it's easy because you got a cell phone now. And, y'all just running up and down, just shooting tray balls.
let
You
me
still
ask
got to work
you,
on your layups.
How's he getting that by you coming to him telling him, man, y'all got it easy? How's he getting what you just said out of that?
Because you can't just always look at what's going on. You still have to realize, okay, it was a layup. it
No.
was
I'm
mid-ranges.
saying
I
you
can still
talking
work
to
on
the-
that.
You talking to the young guy, and
Okay.
and y'all talking about ball, whatever, and you just
Yeah.
saying, man, y'all
I got it easy. Y'all just running up and down, just
So by
three-pointers.
you making that comment,
Yeah.
how is he getting the explanation behind the comment in what you just said? He ain't getting that explanation. All he receiving is, you think I got it easy. And what he gonna tell you is the same thing we tell the previous generation. Well, bro, where you at when, you know what I'm saying, when I'm in the gym 7 days a week
Right.
doing these drills?
Okay.
So you think it's easy because people just out here videoing me, bro.
Right.
But, like, ain't nobody videoing when I'm doing these drills every day after school and before school. I ain't got it easy.
That's
I'm
true.
nice, but
That's
I'm
true.
working.
That's true.
You don't see this work I'm putting in. So don't come to the gym and tell me that I got it easy.
Well, that's the case. Well, some old heads
No,
are
I
just.
don't got it
well,
easy.
some old heads are just leave it at you got it easy. Now you just explain to me, okay, you do. Well, you can do a little bit
Or
more
don't
then.
tell me that I don't appreciate that the fact y'all got recruiters out here recruiting y'all. Or y'all don't appreciate the fact y'all just got social media. People can get this. Like, yeah, but you just still seeing the on the court process.
Right.
Look at Brandon's son, for instance.
Yeah.
He's nice in football right now.
Yeah.
He all on the internet. He worked.
That's true.
Trainers. That's probably being paid for. Night in, night out. He working. How dare somebody tell him he got it easy? You can't tell him he got it easy. That boy don't think he got it easy when he got to practice every day and go to extra training. Ain't that he doing? I'm talking about extra training. We ain't talking about regular practice for school. Then he going to get his extra training in that his daddy or mama paying for.
I mean,
So you can't
say
tell
that.
him that he got it easy. That's
You can say
disrespect to him to tell him he got it easy.
But-
or that
but-
he don't appreciate what he got
Well,
going
how about
on. That
this?
boy working.
With some dudes may come off wrong when they say
Ain't
you got
ain't
it
no
easy.
son like it's shade,
So,
bro.
but sometimes it might not be shade. That
It's
might
shade.
that might
It's a
encourage
shade
somebody to go a little bit harder.
Shade
sometimes.
comment. I don't like that comment. That's like somebody, you come up with somebody got something nice or nice, we're like, oh, must be nice. I don't like that comment either.
Oh, it must be not. I don't like
That's
that.
shade to me. It's like,
You are shade to me at that
But
point.
everything ain't shade. Somebody.
But it ain't shade. But sometimes,
bro.
but for real though, sometimes it could push. Sometimes it
Don't
could
tell
push
me
the
I got
next
it easy.
generation.
don't tell me I got it easy when you don't understand everything, how I'm doing to do what I'm doing.
But maybe I'm not
Don't tell me
saying
I
you
got it
really
easy.
got it easy about what you're doing. Maybe you need to do a little bit more, so that'll push you to go harder. That's all it's saying.
If you don't know everything what I got going on, you can't tell me I got it easy, bro.
Well, that's the difference. We
tell me I
explain
got
that
it
we
easy.
don't have it easy. That's the difference. Back when they used to tell us, people wouldn't say how easy
Yeah,
they have it,
tell
but
me
now
how-
we explain how easy we do have it and explain them we do training. But sometimes some kids might not do that though. You singling out that one kid that go hard.
Well,
but
you
what about
talking
that one?
you talking about
What
the
about that
people
other
being-
kid?
You was talking about the people being recruited and that sort of thing.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah,
if
yeah.
though, I'm just saying that's the type of person that's gonna be recruited. We ain't talking about your average Joes out here.
But some
playing.
average Joes are being recruited though, Big L. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm
I'm
saying.
just saying, if you being recruited, Andre, and you know, like I know in this sports world, if you being recruited, you better than most people out here, bro. Come on, man. Let's just be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess so. I
I'm
guess
just
so.
saying, you talking about being recruited.
I guess so. I guess so.
You play sports, was you
Yeah.
recruited?
I mean, I was, but
Okay.
He said,
Well, I understand what Andre was saying, and here's why I say I understand what he was saying, because and I know one particular basketball program is Indian River. I played basketball for Indian River.
Yes, you did.
So-
Alonzo Moore and all
So
that.
I know the standard that we
y'all won the
had.
state, then y'all?
Yes.
Okay.
So I
know
know the
you want to
standard.
say it. Go ahead, say it. Y'all, what year was that?
I wasn't
What
gonna
year
say
was
it.
that?
You still
What
sweat
year
me
was
because
that?
we won.
What year was that? I'm giving you credit.
Why you want to see? And then you want the year? So I'm
I'm just telling what year.
It was 1987.
yes,
Okay.
sir.
It was
87.
1987.
State champs, Indian
We were
River.
21-1.
Okay.
Brave
Any more
Hawks.
details you need?
No.
Okay, but no, for real. And the reason why I said this was because I know the work that we had to put in as a basketball team then.
Okay.
I know the things that were required of us then as a basketball team.
Okay.
And now when I go to an Indian River basketball game or practice, because my little brother is playing now
Okay.
at Indian River, I see
The difference.
the difference. I
Okay.
see that they don't put the work in
And
that
they ain't
we
winning
did.
no states.
Right. And I see I
They ain't
see
winning no
I see
states.
the difference. The difference is coaches allow the kids to do and say what they want. There's no discipline. You know, we had to wear the same socks. They had to be the same height. We had to wear the same tennis shoes. It was like you were going to be a team through and through. And so I noticed the difference is that nowadays the kids you know, they come in the gym and tell the coach what they not gonna do. You know, I go to a basketball game, you always on defense had your hands up. You know, now they playing relaxed and lazy defense and stuff like that. So when you see the differences, you want to tell them, nah, man, back in the day, we had to put in work. We had to do defensive drills like crazy.
I agree.
And so when you look at their work ethic and how they are doing what they do now, it's like I'm gonna bring back in the day up.
Because
but I'm not doing it to
takes.
throw shade. I'm saying, man, if you want to be good, you got to do this.
I agree. But once again, I still think it's situational. I still think it's perspective. And once again, you can always show cases to prove a certain point. And I agree with that. But again, y'all a state championship team. So, of course, y'all was going to probably work harder than most teams, and y'all was going to be together more than most teams. That's why y'all won. That's why y'all won state. But if you go and watch a team that is now probably currently winning, I bet it's a totally different vibe than what you seeing at Indian River right now. I wish we did have that vibe that y'all had. We probably would be winning. But I guarantee if you go over to somebody else who's winning states right now, they probably is working. They probably is in study hall morning and after. They probably is listening to the coach. They probably is running drills like crazy. And that's why they state champs.
Right. And it's stuff, LJ, that we couldn't do that. You know, you look at kids now, like Coach Lassiter wouldn't let us get a haircut before the game.
Okay.
You know, you couldn't go get a fresh cut on
you
Friday.
look good.
No, and it wasn't that he wanted you to look good. No, it just
It ain't about you.
Game
it
day, you gotta
changed you.
focus, yeah.
It changed your thinking. It changed how you responded. So he was like, "You're
explain, because I got a quote for that. But explain what
that was just his
what
philosophy.
was his thought that
his
about not
philosophy
getting a
was
haircut?
his philosophy was you don't get a fresh haircut on game day because it did something to your psyche. That was one of his things.
Made you
The
thought
other
you
piece
looked like you
was
better than you was.
never wore anything red.
Okay.
Red was a sign of danger. For whatever reason, that was something that he just instilled in us.
He was a bull.
For that.
He was a bull.
He always made us say tenacity, which means together, working together. So there were just certain things that he did, he put out there for us, and it stuck.
Right. Okay. Great.
And we did what he said to do, and we
And it
listened,
worked.
and it worked.
And it worked for y'all.
Right.
Great. Now, just show you how we can always come back.
Side B.
Just to show you how we can always come back.
LJ always got a side.
He always got side
It
B.
can never end, right?
Right,
And y'all
right.
know
I
I
know
love the
this-
debates. I can do this all day long.
We can do it.
But red shirt, right?
Okay.
Who wear the red shirt all the time? You should know that. Y'all two should know this.
Who wear a red shirt all the
Tiger
time?
Woods,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
When he wears red shirt on Sunday.
Masters.
Because
On
his
Master
daddy
Day.
told,
Master
because his
Day.
daddy
yeah.
told him red shirt was the power shirt. You wear that on Sunday when you get ready to go for the win. Wear your red shirt, Tiger.
Okay.
Your coach told you not to wear a red shirt. So see, it's
Not
just
to wear anything red.
anything red. So it's just what somebody is taught.
Right.
Like you was
Sight.
taught some and it worked for y'all, and Tiger was taught just the total opposite and it worked for
Go
him.
in
And
with
another
the
thing
red.
that
So
he
it
did, LJ, that's true.
it goes with it.
But
Back
then-
to getting a haircut. The saying there is you look good,
You look good, you
feel
play good.
good,
Play
do
good.
good.
Yeah. That's the same.
Right?
Yeah.
So now it's more you want to look good. You want to get the haircut.
Oh, you
wanna
get a
have
haircut
your-
on Thursday. You just couldn't get it on Friday.
I'm just saying you
Fresher.
You're right. Your
Yeah.
look and made you how you was gonna feel. And if you feel all right, you're gonna do all right.
I'm about to drop 20 tonight because I
Right.
got a
So it's
fresh
just a
cut.
matter, I'm just saying, it's just a matter of
Yeah.
timing,
Yeah.
and what's being taught
Generation.
and not taught. I mean, like, it just depends on where you coming from and what you being taught. I'm just saying, no right or wrong to any of it. Obviously, the red worked for them, and then it worked for Tiger, and it was basically one the total
Two opposite
opposites.
things. Yeah, you're right.
Right, so it's just a match. So it ain't no right or wrong to it. It's just what you was taught and how you was raised, which we've been saying all day. But regardless of what you was taught and how you was raised, right, you got to kind of form your own understanding at the end of how you want to carry out things, even based upon how you was taught and how you was raised.
Okay.
And if he was taught and raised this way, fine. Don't wear no red. You gonna still win. Tiger can be over here taught, wear your red. Fine. You gonna still win.
Right.
You don't get no haircut. You go ahead and get fresh.
Still
You
got
gonna
dubs.
still win.
But here's
So-
another piece of
so
that. The other
let's
caveat,
just-
the other
go ahead.
caveat is if Tiger Woods goes into coaching and starts teaching kids how to play golf, he's gonna take what he learned
Right.
and he's gonna take it to his perspective. And
Right.
now he'll tell kids, man, wear your red T-shirt.
Right.
Or if I were to start coaching, I would use some of the same things I learned from
Right.
Coach Lassiter
Don't wear that
in
red.
this next generation.
Right.
right? So again, it'll come back from my perspective, my context, what I learned, and I'll bring it to today.
Right.
Um,
So it's all, once again, it's just generational.
Right.
So we all can win in our own way. Why can't we just be fine winning in our own way?
That is true, but I don't want you to forget the fact that the reason why, even though it's generational and we got different thought processes or what have you,
Capable to win as well.
I can't look down on you because of the way you think,
Right.
and we can't look down on the boomers because of the way they think.
Exactly.
Because the reason why they
Exactly.
think that is because of how they were raised. For
Exactly.
whatever reason, Daddy said, "Don't wear your head in the building."
Exactly.
Don't understand why. Don't have
why
the
they
Don't
did.
gotta understand why.
right.
That's
I
what
don't
it
gotta
was.
understand why.
Right.
Until you tell me not to, and I ask you why. You got to give me more than Daddy just told me.
So
not
what
to
if
do
they
that.
say, "Well, they said that was a sign of disrespect"? Is that enough for you?
Well, who am I disrespecting?
It's not going to be enough for you. Instead, if they say
It's not gonna be enough. He gonna
it's
keep
not going to be enough
Ain't gonna be
because if
enough.
he said that was a sign of disrespect, it was one thing
To
you
who?
never to who
I gotta
else?
be disrespecting somebody, or it ain't no
To the person you're
disrespect.
questioning.
There we go. Get to the juice of it now.
Right.
Yeah.
I
And
gotta-
that's what,
I
and that's
gotta
why I
walk-
think it's
I gotta
going.
walk with
That's
how
why
I
I think
feel.
it's going to hurt
I
the
gotta walk
next
with how I
generation
feel.
that's coming because we've already opened the door of asking why.
I'm
Now
just
they're
saying
going to
because
take
they
it to
don't-
the point of why and not even
Right,
caring for
because
real
here's
at all.
Here's the
Right.
thing to
Right.
that. Even with that, okay, he's saying it's a sign of disrespect, but he really can't tell me why it's disrespectful to him, other than just what his daddy told him
I
is
don't like it.
disrespect. Right, his daddy just told him take his head.
Right.
Like,
Right.
he really don't know why it's disrespect.
Do
That's
you have
true.
any non-negotiables in your house?
In my house,
In your
like
house,
my kids and
Is-
stuff.
any like rules? Like when you come in my house, there's certain things you're not gonna do.
You ain't gonna smoke in the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you ain't
come
not
in
gonna
here,
smoke in the
You
house.
can't carry your cigarette in
or-
my living
yeah.
room right here, my kid
Right.
right there.
Right. There's certain non-negotiables, and you can't. If a person say, "Well, why?"
It's because I say that.
Right. This is the rule for my house.
You're right. Good example. It could be right in your house, but over here in my house, that's the way I prefer. So like I say, a lot of this stuff is all like subjective. It's all
It
all
is
about what
subjective.
you like.
Right. So
And what you feel is not right, or what you feel is disrespectful, or paying too much homage, like whatever. It's all about subjective.
Right.
I don't
So-
mind where my head inside because I don't have a problem with that. You might have
Right.
a problem with it. There's not a right or wrong to that.
right.
Right.
But so okay. So for instance,
Or the
right?
red shirt over here, or that way. It's
So-
really not a right or wrong to that.
So for instance, if we in here, right? If we in here,
You
and
mean
somebody,
in the bowling
in
alley?
the- right in
Okay.
this building we at right now, and Joe Blow Smo got a problem with you wearing your hat.
That's his problem. And he can have that problem.
Right, that's my point. This ain't your house.
And he can have that problem.
So you
Right.
can have a problem with it all you want.
Right. But
I ain't in your house.
But it goes back. It's cultural.
So I would, of course,
Because-
respect somebody. If I'm in their house, I better respect them in
Yeah,
their
you
house.
got
But there's a lot of things, y'all, that we learned growing up that was just black people. It was like you ain't gonna go in no black person's living room and sit on their living room furniture.
Absolutely.
Especially if it was white.
Absolutely.
It's white.
Absolutely. Nobody going there.
They
You
got
don't
a
even
plastic
go in
cover
there.
over it.
You
Do
don't even
not.
go in there.
I just know what that room for.
And when I had my house built, for that very reason, I did not get a living room.
Okay.
Because I hated the fact that we
couldn't
go
go in
that living room.
there.
It's a room. Go
Yeah,
sit in
just
it.
go in there, you
ain't
So
doing that.
I took that room and made it an office. We gonna live in this
Yes,
house.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, but
We did Christmas in the living room.
Right. So you look
I mean,
at the
even
way,
growing up.
So
That's
back in the day,
definitely what
black
we
folk just did not use that living room. It was a trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I got a living
Pictures.
room.
Yeah, you gonna walk by that. You gonna see the furniture. You gonna see the plastic.
Boy,
That's
do
the
not-
cleanest. That's the
yeah.
cleanest room in the house.
Go in
Right. And then nobody knew why we did that.
Nah,
Still
nobody.
Still don't know why you would not go in that living room and sit
Still
on
don't.
that furniture.
You right.
It was just because that you were gonna have that good stuff.
Right. So
Until you
now,
die.
so now, so now you had an opportunity to go in your living room because why? Because you want to, and
You
you don't
switched it
know
up.
why I couldn't go in the living room. If somebody had gave you a stern, definitive reason as to why we don't go in the living room,
might still
you
be doing
might
that.
still be not going in your living room.
Right.
But
Now,
because
I
you
don't
didn't
know-
have a definitive answer,
Right.
you go in your living room.
Right now, I don't know. Now, back in the day when somebody died, the
That's
setting
what
up
it
was
was.
at the house.
Yeah.
That's
Now, I
the
don't know if
living
the
room,
living
yeah.
room was the place. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But I know that they did the setting up in the house. They put the casket in the house back in the day.
Okay.
So
In
there's
the
a lot
living
of
room.
cultural things, y'all, that happened that caused people to do what they did
Right.
and think the way they
I
did.
agree.
So a lot of the stuff that was passed down to us is because of how they lived.
Right. It's
right?
cultural.
It's-
It's
right.
traditional.
Uh-huh.
Right. But and
Right.
so with
We're not gonna
culture-
question it. That's-
right.
Yeah.
But so with
That's the answer with certain things.
right.
It's just cultural.
It's
We
culture
don't
and
question
tradition.
it.
Right. Because our lives,
We
why
just
did they
do
had
it.
to put the
But
body
you
in the
gotta
house?
You don't
tradition
ask. You
is-
just do it.
But tradition, it gotta, once again, okay, we church, right? So I saw a quote one time that said, old churches want young people. but don't want to change,
Uh-huh.
right? So you got to pick a struggle. You either change and grow, or you stay traditional and die.
Or don't get the young people.
Don't get the young
So
people.
And they die.
You
pretty much.
change and grow,
Right.
or you stay traditional and die.
Right.
So even with tradition and stuff, it's just like, okay, yeah, it's tradition, but do you just stay in that tradition, or do you change?
Right.
I vote change. That's just me.
Well, you don't want to die,
I just
so you
vote.
have to change.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm
vote
saying?
change.
With the
Everything's got to
times.
change.
Yeah.
You got to continue to change with the times. Times gonna change. You better change, or you're gonna become outdated, bruh.
And I think that's why the Mount leads. I think that because we have an open mindset
You got
and
to.
able to
Was that a commercial?
see different perspectives. I think that's
was a
why
plug.
Absolutely.
we are where we are
When
now.
you do
That's
stuff
a
like
plug.
this and
Right.
have a conversation, you got to have a conversation.
Right.
You got to dialogue. You got to try to understand each generation.
Right.
And you might not agree or understand the
You're
whole
not
thing.
gonna
You
agree
don't
with
have.
everything.
I mean,
Never.
you can with some,
You're
and
not
some
to. I
you
mean,
might
you're
not.
not. Yeah, you're not.
I just think even if we don't, though, it's cool if you do that.
let it ride.
Like I don't like it. Just let it
Let
ride.
it ride.
Right.
I ain't got to understand why you do what you do. I'm trying to understand,
Yeah.
but if I don't, it's cool, man. Cause
Right.
you can go ahead and do what you do. I ain't mad at you.
Well,
I
let
just
me
don't
ask
want. I just don't want you to be mad at me when I do what I do, and I ain't doing it out of disrespect for you. I promise you, I ain't trying
Well,
to
let me
disrespect
ask you this, because
I just doing how I'm doing.
let me ask y'all this: should there be some things that we don't negotiate on, as far as
Church? As far as church is
as
concerned?
far as church is concerned? And here's why I say,
Okay.
because when we look at, and I think when we look at how, you know, we look at church and, you know, the sanctity of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do we allow, I guess, change to the point
Mm-hmm.
where we lose the sanctity of it, if that makes any sense?
Not being church no more, basically. It turned
Here's,
into
here's what I
Are
think.
there any non-negotiables that we really got to draw the line on?
Right.
You know, like, you know, the has.
Okay.
You know, that's something that we dialogue and debate about.
Right.
You know, and we try to figure out where that came
Right,
from.
right.
And is that something that we're saying that's a non-negotiable, or are there some pieces about church that we're just not willing to change?
I think
to the
it's
point where
all-
we lose who God is.
I think it's all, and I'm gonna let these guys talk too. I just think it's all back to what we saying. I think it's all just generational. I think it's situational. I think that answer is gonna vary depending on who you ask in each generation. But I look at our church, for example, right? I think certain things we talking about church sanctuary action type. You know, is it, you know, do we lose the sanctity, right? I think a lot of people thought we was gonna lose the sanctity if you take the chairs out the pulpit,
Mm-hmm.
right? They
Uh-huh.
gone,
Right.
right? A lot of people think you're gonna lose the sanctity if you take the communion thing up from the front of
Uh-huh.
the church, right?
Uh-huh.
That's gone,
Right.
right? So I think a lot of that stuff, man,
We
in
don't
church.
do communion on Sunday. We
Don't
it
do
on
communion,
Wednesday.
exactly.
Right.
We ain't wearing the white gloves no more,
Right.
right? I think a lot of the stuff that we do, we just do out of form or fashion,
Mm-hmm.
right? It ain't no, well, there is rhyme and reason why we doing it, but it really, at the end of the day, if you look it up or research it, it really ain't carrying no real weight,
Mm-hmm.
right? So once again, you trying to get the definitive answer for why you doing something,
Right.
right? So I guess bishop or the pastors or whoever have done the research to why we doing certain things, and you couldn't come up with a heavy answer, so you decided it was okay to do away with it, right? Not trying to lose the sanctity of the sanctuary,
Right.
but I can't find no definitive answer as to why we doing it this way, which is back to what I was just saying. So I just think that we already are making subtle changes and moving that people would have thought would lose the sanctity of the sanctuary. But for me, no, certain things like, you know, hats or whatever case may be, you know, obviously back in the day, everybody used to wear suits or you had to dress up. That obviously slowly
Sunday's
changed.
best.
That ain't changed the sanctity of the
And we
sanctuary.
know
And
that was back in the day. You
Right.
wore your best to church.
Right.
That was the day.
right, that's what you
really-
did,
Yeah.
you know, and but that don't mean that we don't now, that the sanctuary ain't sanctified no more.
Right.
Well, I mean,
You know, and I don't think that I can't wear my hat in church. I don't think that ain't making the church say, look, the sanctuary is a room just like this room right here. It's just like any other room that you go in, you know what I'm saying? I can pray to God right now
With
the
3 or
same way I
more.
pray to God in the sanctuary. Like, people act like the sanctuary is the only place that you don't got relationship with God nowhere other than the sanctuary.
But let's look at it from a biblical perspective, because when Moses got on a certain ground, he had to remove his shoes because this was holy ground.
Okay.
And I think that maybe when we look at the church, we look at that as holy ground. So what are the pieces that we say, because this is holy ground,
Right.
this is why we do this.
I mean,
this is
I
how we
agree.
do this.
And he might have done that, but I ain't seen nobody take their shoes off in the sanctuary.
Nah, but like, I mean, I really feel like, if we're gonna be stuck here on church, what's the objective?
God.
Is
Right.
it about having a great building,
Right.
about the road? Is it about the chairs?
No.
And that's why I feel like right now, like in church, we at this space now
We're
where
caught up
you're
in
right. It's
stuff.
people that's our age that's really starting to get leadership, and now we can
Voice.
change and voice and question those things. Well, you know what? We don't have to have like all of this wood and all this, but like we can have
No.
a regular shell building with a
Right.
nice screen and a nice sound. Like,
And we good.
church has changed. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Right.
So I really feel like now, it's really about wearing a hat. Do you want to do this? What's the objective? Are we really trying to accomplish about a status quo,
Why
about
we
how
here?
everybody doing the same thing? No,
What is
like,
the
what
Why
are we
we
here
here?
for?
Right.
So and if that means, okay, now like we're streaming, we don't have church in the building at all, that still shouldn't take away from anything.
Right.
You still doing what you're supposed to do. So like certain
Absolutely.
people and certain churches that are older and smaller and refuse to evolve in those things, it's like you're stuck in a ways that you don't even know why you're doing it.
Right.
We're here every church should be here all for the same reason.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think this conversation,
Great answer.
This conversation should be had across the board,
Everywhere.
because again, you get to see and hear different perspectives as to, if you're trying to grow your church, this is how you do it.
Absolutely.
You
got to have
stop
a
being
dialogue.
so jacked up to the
Doing
point
things that
where
you don't
don't
want to
nobody
change.
want to come to your church
Yeah.
because you make church so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
And you doing the same
You got to
thing.
give church the way people want church, not the way how you see that you
Right.
want church. You know what I'm saying? And if we're at a space now where we're not talking about having a great big crosses everywhere, not saying that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But I'm saying like you got to be able to say, hey, there's another way
Right.
Right.
That's it.
to
There is
get
another way.
where we trying to go. You know
Like
what
I
I'm
told
saying? That's
you-
all I was saying.
Like I told you when we was at Lit After 6 Thursday. I told Jubilee we lit after 6. We do it every one Thursday a month at Griff's. For those of y'all that don't know.
Every first Thursday.
First Thursday
At Grill
at
630,
Griff's.
downtown
I told
Portsmouth.
Jubilee we were sitting there. we literally was sitting there lit after 6. I said, you know what?
With my drink
I could
and my
do
popcorn shrimp.
I could do church just like this.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, Sunday morning, I could do church like this. I could go somewhere, sit down, give me something to eat, give me something to drink, get taught, and I'm up out of here.
little
It's the
church
same
brunch.
thing.
Little
It's
brunchy
the exact
church.
same thing. I'm in there chilling. I got something to eat.
That's true.
I don't got something to drink.
That's true.
I got somebody up teaching me. Maybe give me a song or two, which we didn't do that. But if you just had to do it, if you was really trying to make it, a substitute for
Right.
church, literally, I could go in there, give me one song, give me two songs, have somebody stand up, teach. I can get something to eat, drink. I'm sitting there. I'm in just wherever I'm at. And I'm out, bruh.
Right.
I don't need all the fancy stuff at the front. I don't need all the seats in the tall chair and this chair. I
But
don't
some
need
people
all
gotta
that.
have that, though.
I don't need it.
Right.
Right.
You know what
Some
I'm
people
saying? So
gotta
not
have
saying
it.
that
And
there's
I'm
not a
saying-
right or
and I'm
wrong
saying
way.
that's-
It's just
that's
the way we've
fine.
been
I'm
cultured.
saying that's fine, but it's also fine to do
There
it
you-
like we did.
exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
church. And
But
I
be-
could be in there with my hat on,
That's
my
what I was
shorts
saying,
on.
exactly.
But
you can't
because
say
that
that- It don't
paradigm is
matter.
being changed now, come back now when people come behind us, that's gonna be normal.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
It's gonna be something
normal to be
different.
at Griff's.
It's gonna be something different.
Right.
And the
It's-
sanctity
Right.
ain't went nowhere because
Right.
the bottom line is
It's
the
not
sanctity
in the house.
It's
is
in
all
your
about
head,
what I'm
in your
doing
body,
right
soul.
here.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all what that is.
That's
no,
the church all the
sanctity
way
ain't gonna
around.
change. Regardless of
Right.
what I do in a
Right.
particular room, you know
Right.
what I mean? Unless I'm really just defiling the room. We ain't talking
Right.
about no
Yeah.
crazy stuff,
Yeah.
but
Right.
just appearance or your outlook or
Right.
what's in the room and what ain't in the room, man. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing, man. I'm
Right.
praising God. I'm in
Right.
here clapping.
I need that word,
I'm
that
thanking
song,
Jesus
and
right
I'm
now,
That's why you're
bruh.
doing pop-up churches now.
That's
You're
all
doing
I'm
podcast
doing.
church
Yeah.
now. You're
Right.
doing mobile text
Yeah.
church now.
Right.
You're doing video cast.
Yeah.
They doing podcast
Yeah.
You're
church
doing
now?
podcast
Well,
church.
Oh,
I saw
yeah,
this
it's-
cat.
it's
I s-
evolving.
Lord forgive me. I saw this apostle.
This
cat.
cat.
I saw this cat.
Cat daddy.
He was preaching, right, and he had on some tight plaid pants,
Mm-hmm.
high water, black shoes, T-shirt, and I'm
Migos.
just like, wow, we have really evolved
Man,
we've come
Why
a
not?
long way
Absolutely.
in regards to our, how we present.
You got to.
You
on
have
a
too.
Sunday.
I seen the
Oh,
way
yeah.
you dress.
And
Absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you, the honest thing is like it's now liberating me.
You feel better probably
It's-
about it.
it's
Yeah.
I know
liberating-
you're more comfortable.
I am.
I know
it's,
you
it's,
are.
it's liberating.
I am.
It's liberating me from one end, but on the other end, it's kind of uncomfortable.
struggle.
I got you. I got you. And
It's
it's
a
like
struggle.
going from
Yeah,
baggy jeans
yeah.
to skinny jeans.
I agree.
Right.
Same, yeah, I
Same
told-
way.
I
It's
told
you
her
feel a
that.
little uncomfortable
Yeah.
even now
Right.
about certain stuff. Like,
And watch
Got
this.
on it.
I won't raise
and
like
my
this.
uncomfortability and my uncomfortability come from I won't raise like this.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what are they gonna think?
Right.
What are the older generation that I'm preaching to now? Are they gonna now lose confidence in
I
me
got you.
because I'm now shifting?
I got you.
Hey, man.
But
You
never
know-
lose
You
confidence.
know, as a leader, that, hey, man, you make turns sometimes.
Sometimes people come with you, sometimes they don't. Right.
It's just part
Right.
of it. You
That's
got to
right.
make, but
But-
you have,
but
you
like
have
you
to
said-
make the turn to
Right.
keep growing.
But what I've noticed is people are more ready for change than we are.
Absolutely.
Because when we make certain turns, they be like, "Man,
I've been
you know,
waiting on
been
this.
waiting for this."
Waiting on
Or
this.
the whole time.
Or I'll
Still.
hear people come and tell me, "Man, I'm so glad I was able to come here, and now I see church in a totally different
Absolutely.
way."
Absolutely.
And it's like I can come here.
Absolutely.
I can come here and worship because they see it's a different thing. I see people who would never step foot in church come to church and be like, "Man, I can get with this."
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. Definitely.
Because they were so rigid back then, where you gonna do it my way, this way,
Absolutely.
that way, that way, and the
Absolutely.
preacher gonna do this way. Don't know why, and that's what
Right.
kind of turned a lot of people off.
Man, I
Right.
do some of that stuff on purpose. Like, I stopped wearing suits intentionally, honestly. Because,
Just to
look,
see how
you
it-
in church. It's plenty of people in church with suits on, right? So
Uh-huh.
if you come to church and you need to see people with suits on, you going to see that.
Right.
They ain't my people, though.
Not me.
Mhm.
I need the people that look like me.
Right.
When they come to church, they need to see somebody that look like how they look.
Right.
So
Fresh
you know
from
what?
the club.
I can come to church. I can come to church. He got that on. I can come to church.
Now, from time to time, I'll still throw a suit on. I'll wear some jeans. I'll wear a
Switch
button
it up.
down and some slacks. I switch it up.
Switch it up.
But now I'm at a place where again I'm being liberated myself, and it makes the moment
You
more.
doing what you
exciting.
want to do. You wearing what you want to wear.
That's
You know
what
what
he's
I'm
doing.
saying? Because it don't make a
Right.
difference.
That's
Right.
what he's doing. It
You know
don't
what I'm
change
saying? It
nothing.
ain't about like how you been taught. You know,
Right.
when it really comes to it, it don't make a difference
So to answer the question,
to some people.
are there any non-negotiables in the church that we gonna lose the sanctity? No. Outside of what Jubilee said, as long as we here for the right reason, which we all know the reason we here for Jesus and God and all that kind of stuff. As
Right.
long as we
Long
ain't,
as he's
as long
pleased.
as we ain't lost that,
Right.
no, we ain't lost the sanctity.
That's what we
It
here
don't
for.
matter what we change in the actual building.
In the appearance.
As
In the
long as we
appearance.
don't change the fact that we
Appearance.
here to uplift the name of Jesus,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's true. That's
Bring
true.
people
the
in.
sanctity
to
ain't
teach.
been lost.
Yeah, that's true.
That what
Okay,
you here
what
for?
you got on?
Yeah, that's true.
Or
That's
where
just
you
my
at,
opinion.
or what your building look like, or how you
It don't matter.
deliver it to the people.
Yeah,
It
that's
don't
true.
matter.
It's all true
You
stuff.
can come in there and sit down and talk to everybody. Sanctity ain't
Right.
changed. You get rid of the. I mean, think about all the stuff we done did, man. You get rid of the pulpits, y'all, man. You had to have the pulpit up there with
Right.
the big Bible.
Right. Right.
We done got rid of all that kind of
I
stuff.
remember that big
man.
Bible,
That
too.
big Jack we
I
used to have to
remember
carry.
had Bible in the
Bro.
Bible.
No,
I'd much
but
rather preach from the
It's
floor than the
Man.
subtle,
Yeah,
subtle
yeah.
change. I mean, we've done more like real staunch traditional changes, man, that people have went along with way worse than you. We talking about wearing a simple hat or wearing whether or not you got some jeans on. I'm talking about, man, you took the pulpit off this platform.
gone. Heavy boy gone.
Yeah.
That's major.
Major.
That's super major.
That's
You
major.
took the chairs off the pulpit.
Yeah.
Right.
That's major. You took the communion, the praying hands,
Right.
the candles,
Right.
the little scarf.
You know, and the
In
crazy.
remembrance of me.
Right.
We took that out the sanctuary, man. That was a real staunch traditional.
Right.
And we worry about what somebody got on.
And boy, I like how you say, because there are a lot of stuff that we got in church. People don't even know what it is.
That's what I'm saying. It's
What-
there
I'm gonna ask y'all, what does the IHS mean on the cross?
in his service or something like that. Right?
That's
in
not
his
what it
service?
means.
That's not what it means.
That's not what it means.
IHS?
IHS, you see it on that cross.
I don't know what it mean then. I thought that was in memory.
That's why we don't have a cross in the sanctuary
Yeah,
no more.
what it mean then?
Right. It means in hoc signum.
Oh yeah, I would never
Oh
guess
yeah,
that.
I can
That
spell
is
that.
crazy. All these years I thought it meant in his service.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we
service
all
or something.
did.
Yeah,
Till I
yeah.
went to seminary.
I ain't
And I
even get
found out that
I must been
Constantine
asleep.
had a dream. And Constantine, watch this, before church became legal, Constantine made church legal after he had a dream, and God told him, by this sign you will conquer.
Mm.
And he was converted that night.
Mm.
and that's when church became legal.
Taught me some.
Taught
So it
me
mean
something
what?
too.
In hoc signum,
In
In
hoc
hoc
signum.
signum.
which means by this sign you will conquer.
Taught me something today. But look, man, I hope y'all learned something today too, man. You know, y'all make sure y'all check us out, man, on Saturdays, man. Thank you, Pastor Teron,
PT.
for coming and joining us,
Son.
I
man.
appreciate it,
Y'all
man.
want to hear more of what he got to
Have
say,
a good
man?
time.
Virginia Beach, Mount Virginia Beach, man,
Be there.
on Sunday. Where y'all at, man?
Yes, sir.
Tell y'all address and all that
1110
stuff.
Bennington Road. We are coming out of College Park Elementary School. You want to be there.
Yes, sir.
10 o'clock a.m. every Sunday.
Absolutely,
Yes,
man. This your boy LJay Brown.
It's no nickname
You
Corey.
know it's your boy D.I.E.
And this is the Kickback, man, live each and every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Wake up!
Yup.